AEW All-In 2026 has the chance to be the best show in all Elite Wrestling history. And that is not a small feat. AEW is known for putting on some of the best wrestling pay-per-views there's ever been. And especially over the last year, it feels like every single month, all we're talking about is, was that the best AEW event we've ever seen? And I think that it has all been building up to what I believe is going to be a major peak for them in this new resurgent era of AEW, that being All-In Wembley Stadium 2026, live in front of tens of thousands of fans, as one of the biggest main events in professional wrestling history occurs. Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. And on top of that, you also have a major encounter that is building, likely between the winner of the Owen Hart Cup, Mercedes Moné, and potentially the next AEW Women's World Champion in Willow Nightingale. All of these different factors, these feuds, and the general vibe of the company and how healthy the roster have been tell me that this is gearing up to be one of the biggest climaxes of a professional wrestling era, quote unquote, we've ever seen. You have a roster that, as I said before, is as healthy as it's ever been. Usually going into All-In, you have a couple of people who are hurt or injured who might end up missing the show. That was the case over the past few years. But this year, for the most part, AEW is dealing with a very healthy men's roster, and especially with the return of the likes of Jay White and the ascension of the likes of Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher into true major players in the AEW roster. I think that right now, it probably is the best roster of stars we've ever seen. Like, it genuinely feels like half of the members of the Don Callis family could be challenging for the AEW World Championship in a threatening manner at any time. That tells you how deep this is when one group is able to do that. And you also have the matter of fact that right now, compared to everything else that is on TV, whether it be TNA or the slop that is WWE, AEW is just night and day as a product. It is not only different in that it presents an alternative from what the quote-unquote mainstream of professional wrestling is showing, but on top of that, even more so, the creative, the storytelling, and the emotion of the show actually matters. And it shows when you're watching the program week in, week out. And they have been on a roll on TV. They've been on a roll just in general. And when you combine all of that with the idea that this All-In represents, I think, in many ways, what the original All-In was supposed to be back in 2023. In 2023, AEW was at a pretty weird point. The peak had died off and the product was still doing well, but despite the perceived success and despite the fact that they did indeed sell 80,000 tickets for Wembley, you got the feeling that something had changed. In 2020, going into 2021, the company felt like legitimately probably the biggest and best wrestling company anyone had ever seen. The perception was that it was AEW and everyone else. But as controversies backstage transpired and got reported on, and you combine that with the fact that WWE was putting on what at the time seemed to be a pretty competent product, the idea of AEW being the best above the rest was less so true. And creative decisions and changes to the priority of a more sports-oriented product affected the way people perceived AEW, and that didn't really change until 2025. And I believe All-In 2025 can be pointed to as a true marker of that resurgence. It just feels like for the past calendar year, the company has been running on all cylinders. They have been firing as well as they've ever fired, and we have been seeing some of the best wrestling storytelling I think we've ever seen out of any company, point blank, period. And A lot of it is due to the renewed passion and vision for what professional wrestling is supposed to be. And that is the best wrestlers in the world having motivations that are grounded in either winning championships to prove they are the best or personal grudges that truly have stakes and matter. Unfortunately, that is something you don't get in WWE today. Unfortunately, that's something you get less and less of in companies like TNA today. And while AEW is far from perfect, and there are several changes I would make to the way the company has handled specific storylines, overall, it is the most enjoyable professional wrestling product I think I've seen in years. And that is good. You're never going to get something that is entertaining to everybody. But if you have something that is entertaining to your core fans, that's what matters. And I think the fact that AEW pulled the trigger on this desire from the fans, this desire from the most hardcore AEW fans who spend money on the product, who have been supporting the product, who are the ones who tune in and tell more casual fans about what's happening and why it's cool. I think the fact that they went out on a limb and said, instead of MJF going into All-In as the champion, it's going to be Kenny Omega, and we are going to see this dream match, the rubber match, to end all rubber matches, the biggest main event in AEW history, in my opinion. That tells you that they understand this moment better than we could have ever possibly imagined. They understand the magnitude of what this All-In represents. They know they need to sell a bunch of tickets. They know that eyeballs are going to be watching. That's why the ratings for Dynamite were the highest we've seen in years when Kenny Omega finally won the AEW World Championship. Those things are what build your company to be bigger. Those things are what build trust with new fans. Those things are what builds trust and sustains trust with the fans you have. And those things, most importantly, are why we watch. Fans watch not to be gaslit, not to simply do a bit, not to simply say a catchphrase and yeet on out of there. We watch to see the best in the world perform. We watch to be entertained. We watch because there is nothing better than when a professional wrestling storyline grabs you, entertains you, enthralls you, and makes you forget that you are watching a television show. That is the beauty of this current era of AEW. It isn't just hot shots. It isn't just debuts. It feels real. And that is the biggest compliment you can give to any company in professional wrestling. Hopefully they can keep it up. But in the end, I guess we'll see. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos from WrestleVibes.